but I had a few games where I just played the fuck out of them. That was Hogwarts Legacy, Diablo 4, and Baldur's Gate 3. And even though I say that, Nick is probably sitting there being like, "Yeah, but you haven't even beat the game yet."
Believe it or not, she still hasn't left chapter 1. She said she did, but I haven't seen any proof.
I did.
I checked her achievements, and they're not there. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I did investigative journalism.
That's another lie, Nick. Another lie.
I just said I was just kidding. Jesus Christ.
It's the first live 2024. You know.
No.
Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast Year in Review episode. We got fun categories. We're going to hear from the community what their suggestions for Game of the Year was. We're going to share some plans for 2024. And most importantly, we're going to hear from some really important sponsors. You know, people who have been with us since we started the show. Always supporting us. Very real companies. But first, my name is Christian.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Nick.
I'm Amanda.
I'm rock hard. I'm so excited for this episode.
God.
I've been working out. I'm saying my abs are rock hard. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait for this episode. You got some fun stats, Christian. Let us know what they are.
Yeah. So this year we we talked about playing 118 games, right? Emilio, you played 46, Amanda 23, Bobby 34, Nick 20, and I talked about 18. We had 157 listener questions, which we only had 57 last year. So, you know, three times the listener questions.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good, but Workonius was the most...
By the way, not three times the listeners, just that much more curiosity.
Exactly.
Is that how you measure it?
Yeah. Workonius was the most frequentest asker, and he alone asked 50 questions. He's our power user, guys. You know, like on mobile games, the whales who spend like $100,000 that keep the whole ship afloat. That's Workonius for us, basically.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about anything. That's why he has to ask frequently all the time.
I don't even watch the show. I just want to ask questions. Yeah. Need somebody to talk to.
He just listens to the end 20 minutes of every episode.
He's the only person that does.
We recorded 52 episodes. We had 12,000 YouTube views, so we're just getting started on YouTube, or I guess we're just getting started on taking YouTube a little bit more seriously. And we had 144,000 podcast listens this year, which is quite a lot, which is good. And Nick told 4 lies this year, which is down from 6 that he told last year. So,
what was the most egregious? Do you remember?
They're all equally horrible.
Oh, okay, that's good. At least space is the worst. Can we all agree that? Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
That fucking argument.
Yeah, I just
speaking of Workonius, Bobby, do you have something for us?
Yes, I do, in fact. So we are going to hear from some listeners and what their nomination is for Game of the Year. And the first one we're going to hear is from Workonius, our super fan. Christian, you got that queued up?
You betcha.
Hey, dudes. Workonius here, giving you my Game of the Year for 2023. It's Cyberpunk 2077. They came out with the expansion, Phantom Liberty. Amazing stuff. Great story in that expansion. The game itself is polished, it's patched, and Night City is an amazing adventure to go in and immerse yourself in that place. So, highly recommend. Also, I want to give a shout out to a game that came out earlier this year, an immersive sim called Atomic Heart. It's a bit of Bioshock, it's a bit of Prey. And if you're nostalgic for the Soviet era and that sort of stuff, it's pretty rad. See you guys.
That was him.
Nostalgic for the Soviet era? Okay.
I don't think anyone is nostalgic for that era, okay? Most of those people are
the good
dead.
old days.
Dude, I just started...
the famine. It was a good time for everybody.
I just started reading the Gulag Archipelago, and whatever the opposite of nostalgia for that's what I got. I got the Goonies, dude. I don't
Suppressed
want none of
memories,
it.
dude.
Yeah, none of
Yeah.
that.
They really know how to pour concrete, though. I mean, come on.
It's all over the place.
Okay.
That
But
is
he
a good
does bring
game,
up,
though.
and he does bring up an interesting point that Atomic Heart wasn't really mentioned in a lot of people's like top 10 or the Game Awards. Like I don't feel like it was nominated for anything.
Yeah,
It
Kinda
wasn't.
glossed
It didn't do well at all in reviews and like user reviews and YouTube videos that I watched. People were like, "The story's not that good, and the gunplay doesn't feel that good either." So
It was
Oh,
fun,
that's
man.
fascinating.
It was like a modern BioShock and maybe not as deep or something, but yeah, I thought it was cool. And I always appreciate playing a game from another culture that doesn't make games very often. They feel different, and that's good.
yeah, sometimes they don't feel good.
It's true.
Or sometimes what doesn't feel good is good, right?
was-
So that's a good segue into Bobby. Next to our next ad,
Yeah, I think Rianne is going to present this ad.
Yes.
Hi, Ree.
Hello. Yes, this episode is sponsored to you today by Rianne's Anal Beads. Rianne's anal beads are beautiful brass balls. You can put them up your ass or you can hang them from your ceiling. They're really fun to smack around in your face. They help liven up any room. They're big, they're brass, and they're bold. And they're perfect for you. If you're not already convinced, you can check out the pictures of Rianne's anal beads in the Discord. And if you tweet at DLG within the next 5 minutes, you can get your hands on these anal beads for only $32.99 and a bag of ketchup chips.
Not
Thank
too
you.
bad.
I love that.
I fucking love ketchup chips. Thank you, Rianne.
Yes,
And you know what?
thank you.
Yeah, that's really excellent. I also think too they probably would work really well as a jewelry statement piece too. That's
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's multi-use.
Absolutely. You'll love them when you see them.
Perfect.
Awesome,
Can't wait.
thank you.
You'll love them the first time you see them. After you see them, they kind of lose their.
You love them when you see them. You won't love them when you use them. That's what.
Yeah.
Seems like an appropriate sponsor for our show.
Oh, geez, that was crazy. Wow, cool. That was the sponsor, guys. Was it good?
It was great.
It was really good.
Our dollar meter that we use for it's going up. It's crazy. It popped off the top.
We're getting calls in right now.
I feel like it's
The
I feel
phones
like
are
it was
lighting
as
up.
bold as our people. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Did we introduce this section, our 2023 gaming year in review?
No, we did not. That is all you. You are the host.
Okay. So to get it started, just going to go through general thoughts. How was our 2023 gaming year? And I'm really glad for Steam's year in review. This is like the second year they've done it, and they give you those super detailed stats of what you were playing. And you can really tell like months I was having problems by how much I was gaming. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I have problems, if I'm not dealing with them, I'm gaming to forget, It's not like a healthy
there we
coping
go.
mechanism, but it's
Escape.
definitely
It is.
something. It's
better than
something I've noticed.
violence.
So, yeah,
It is better than violence.
Yeah, a lot of things are. So,
I'd say
I'm
most.
I'm happy I got to play as many games as I did. Vivian's been a lot more active, and that's my main thing that stops me from playing games. But now we got her on like a constant sleep schedule, and I get about like 4 or 5 hours to myself to either like do schoolwork or play games or spend time with Leslie. So I was really glad I got to play as many games as I did.
Yeah, I was shocked, and I am shocked every year. Like constantly in the back of my head, I'm just like, I don't get to play enough games. I don't get to play games, and then I see my stats, and I'm like, oh, I'm playing more games than anybody else I know. Well, more games, definitely not more hours for sure.
Dude, you play a game for like 30 minutes, and you're like, time to play the next game that I got advertised to me.
Yeah, exactly. I like new. But we all have our little things that we're going to talk about that happened this year. I guess the best way to go down is just kind of like I'll go down. So we did the year in review that Steam, and so a lot of things come out of there. But I played the shit out of Returnal, and it's not on there, and it's really strange because I played it on Steam. So
Is it a delisted game now?
I don't think so, because I went to its store page today, and also for some reason I think I started. No, I bought it. No, yeah, it was a gift, but yeah, it's on my Steam library.
Maybe you didn't play as much as you thought.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
at least 60 hours, 70 hours. Yeah,
Oh, damn.
because I
But-
beat it several times.
Was it spread out over the whole year, though?
Yeah, I don't know, and it came out in 23. So I don't know. It was just very strange that wasn't on there. What about you guys? What did the last year look for you? For you?
Well, I think I played a lot more than usual this year, at least a lot more than 2022 or maybe 2021. So back in 2022, I got addicted to Heroes of the Storm again. And so I had to kick that habit once again in 2023. And again, the only way I was able to do it was with another addictive Blizzard game, Diablo 4. So thank God that came out. Then I got hooked on that. And I can't remember the last time I played so much of a game. Like, not so much like overall, but so much in a short time period. Like, I was grinding away at that game. And I think it was fun. I'm not sure. But overall, I think I played a lot.
It had to be for you to be, that deep into it. Or they're at least addicting, if not fun.
Yeah, but you know how Blizzard does it. Like, the word fun and addiction kind of get blurred a little bit with Blizzard games. And you got to stop and ask yourself, why am I really playing this game?
You might have just figured out why they're a multi-billion-dollar company, dude. They blur those two words very well.
Yeah. Yeah, they've managed to do that. But yeah, I don't know. What about you, Amanda?
So me, I kind of feel like compared to 2022 and 2021, I kind of feel like I played a lot less games overall throughout the whole year, but I had a few games where I just played the fuck out of them. That was Hogwarts Legacy, Diablo 4, and Baldur's Gate 3. And even though I say that, Nick is probably sitting there being like, yeah, but you haven't even beat the game yet.
Believe it or not, she still hasn't left chapter 1. She said she did, but I haven't seen any proof. I checked her achievements and they're not there.
I just kidding.
I'm just kidding.
I did investigative
put
journalism.
That down. That's another lie. Nick, another lie.
I just said I was just kidding. I just said I was just kidding.
It's the first live 2024, I don't know.
No, it was a joke, damn it. No, but I feel like this year for me was a lot of twos. So like I played a lot of like Tom Clancy's Division 2 and Destiny 2 and Dying Light 2 kind of in the front half of the year. And then Diablo 4 came and I was taken over for sure by that. I really wanted to play Starfield, but it's just competing against Baldur's Gate 3. There was no way. And honestly, kind of based on the reviews and what everybody's been saying, I feel like I only missed out on being disappointed. So maybe that's not a big miss.
Is it sad that Starfield isn't even competing with the whole of Baldur's Gate 3? It's just competing with the first act of Baldur's Gate 3.
Have you seen the shit that people are putting on the revolting after the Steam Awards? And it's like most innovative gameplay, and people were like, "What the fuck is this?"
If you were gonna give them any kind of kudos, that would not have been
it. No, maybe the shipbuilding, but still, Lego did a better fucking job. Dude. It's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about as far as gaming interview. I wanted Starfield to do good. I wanted Starfield to be StarCraft in space. But as soon as they were like, not StarCraft, Skyrim in space. But as soon as they were like, you could explore all these generated worlds or you can explore all these generated things. I'm like, nope, that's where you lose the soul. As soon as you put any kind of auto-generated shit in it, your game loses its soul. Like there's no feeling, there's no artistic talent. It just feels like I'm talking to a robot and I'm running into a place with no fucking map. How do you make a game with no map in the future? I don't understand it.
I thought it was a fun game. That was definitely had way too much loading screens in. And then you sent me a 45-minute video on why it sucked, and now I hate it.
Great job, man. You ruined Christmas. You ruined Starfield Christmas.
I would rather play fucking Fallout 3 than Starfield.
Yeah, but Fallout
take that, Starfield.
Yeah.
It's like 12 years old, 14 years old.
A game that was good that people also hated was City Skylines 2, which was my most played game on my Steam year in review in October. You know, they have those little bar charts or whatever. It was like 90% City Skylines 2 that I played.
Why did people hate it? Because of the performance issues?
I don't even want to go over it. It disgusts me so much. I was looking
Catch that for the
through
after
all-
show interview.
Yeah, I was looking through all our listener questions and all our episodes to fill out the stats. And yeah, the City Skyline 2 thing really pisses me off. There's people who are playing like 70 hours of this game and then negative reviewing it, saying it only reaches 30 FPS. Like what? Like that just boils my blood, guys. Like, come on. Yeah, that's it for City.
I'm not going to
Skylines
go
2.
over it, but let me go over it real quick.
30 FPS. That sounds pretty nice when
Yep.
you got a dying laptop.
Dude, I am so glad that Steam did that wrap up. I'm glad that most companies do. What company was? Oh, I brought this,
Spotify.
I already talked about this before. Yeah, Spotify did it, but then Nespresso did it, and Nespresso was like, "You spent this much on coffee this year." I'm like, "Oh my god, we need to stop doing that
Stop
right away.
Nespresso.
Stop it!" I thought it was the
It's
worst.
No
also
more
like a
coffee.
bad idea from their point too,
Yeah,
because
so
it's
bad.
just like when
It
you show
is.
somebody like,
Yeah.
look at how much money you spend, they're gonna look at that and go, "Oh yeah, fuck this."
Yeah, yeah.
What if-
it
I'm
was
drinking
a super
Folgers
bad
now.
move.
Your
We went
local.
and bought a coffee. We bought a coffee pot and we started doing coffee, and we realized that sucks, and we went back to the espresso. And so we incurred
It's-
the cost of a $100 coffee pot as well. And now, yeah, it's crazy. I thought it was funny that one of my top games played last year was Street Fighter V. This was news to me. I think my Steam shit is fucked up, by the way, but and Street Fighter 6 is way better, but I'm not playing it as much as Street Fighter 5 because this year's been insane. I mean,
Yeah, no, this year's
2023
had-
was insane. Well,
Yes.
this is the year. We're not. You can't say that this is the bar, but we're going to talk about this year in the future. Like, oh, it's a good year, but it's no 2023. You know what I mean? I feel
You know,
like.
I think like so far in the 20s, like the 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, it's definitely the top one out of all of those.
In the 20s.
Yeah, in the 20s. And so, I mean, that's kind of weird, huh? When you think of the
It's weird
20s,
to
you
say
think of like
the
the
20s,
flapper
dude.
fucking era and like the Great Gatsby and all that
Yeah.
bullshit in World War One. Actually, World War One in 1918. So, yeah, like you said, dude,
Almost
this is
lie.
just
You're so close. Sorry.
You're getting dangerously close.
as for the games this year, like you said, it really has been one for the record books. I think that every single category could have been like for the Game Awards could have been like elaborated with 2 or 3 more nominations, and you still would have had contenders for those nominations, right? I think what's another cool thing about this year is that you had so many indie pops, like so many indie good games, as well as AAA games, and then you had like sleeper hits. And then also you have like the hump on the camel's back, which carried most of the shit, was Baldur's Gate 3, which is arguably game of the fucking last 5 years. And so, yeah, does anyone else have any like favorites or anything that they want to bring up?
Well, this was the year that I finally got into Sea of Thieves. I feel like that was a long time coming. And when I looked back at my Steam review, March and April, I spent a wild amount of time in that game. Like, I don't know what was going on those months, but I spent a lot of time in Sea of Thieves. And I'm happy about that. Like, I'm still going back to that game. I'm still playing it. Like, I knew it's so weird to have that relationship with a game. You're like, wow, this is perfect for me, yet I'm not interested in it and I don't want to play it. And then when it finally clicks, I don't know. I think that's what Emilio experienced with Cyberpunk 2077 at first, because now it's finally clicking for him. But that's how it was for Sea of Thieves with me this year.
Same thing with Witcher 3. It took me 3-4 tries. WoW took me 3-4 tries. If it's good and it persists to be good and everybody's saying it's good for years, then eventually you just like, okay, now I get it. Most of the time it'll work out that way. It pays off.
I wanted to play
ahead.
less of more games, like overall. That was kind of one of my goals for last year. And I know achievements aren't, the greatest marker of like how long you've spent in a game, because some games you can like 100% them really
Yeah.
Yeah,
easily.
one
Other
game will
games,
skew the whole thing.
exactly. Well, when you have a library so huge, I do feel like moving the average up is an indication. So I went from 16% to 21%, you know? And when I looked at the amount of games played, it was far less too. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm doing what I wanted. Like I want to get really deep into like story games, and I want to kind of experience them as the developers intended. Something like Black Mesa, you know, was not something I would have ever played like 3 or 4 years ago, like ever. You know, I would have played the first message and I would have been like, okay, cool. Then I would have gone back to like a grand strategy game, which I can replay 100 times, and basically just doing variations of the same thing. So yeah, that was a good thing to notice.
I'm sorry, Christian. I'm dumb. Oh, you went from 16 to 21% in what?
Like my global average achievement for my Steam library.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, yeah. That's a lot. That's a big jump. I had like that was one of my stats that was way above everybody else. I think the average achievements is like 70, and I had 405. But I think it's because I play so many little games, and I get one or two here and there, maybe. I don't know. I played almost no VR last year. That was a really big bummer to read. And then at the end of the year, it's funny, right before the finish line, I fell in love with Cyberpunk. Um, so that's how my year went, basically. And I'm really hopeful going into next year, because you know what? Even if it's a shit year for games, everything from this year is going to spill over into that for me. Cyberpunk, Baldur's Gate, fucking. I've been itching for Returnal ever since I've been thinking about it again. I'm thinking about it so much recently. I'm like, why'd I delete it? I think I had to delete it in order to play more games.
That's when you know it's a good year. Yeah.
I had to buy 2 NVMe drives for this year to be able to install shit, and I put in another 2 terabytes, and I have so many games on my computer, and I randomly have the itch to play one that's 130 gigs, aka War Thunder. I played for like 2 hours the other day. I'm like, all right, I haven't touched this. Time to wait another year to touch it again. So.
Okay.
You know what? I thought this year was the first time that I had ever used the Steam refund feature, because I actually refunded Starship Troopers Extermination, not because it was a terrible game, but just because I thought, I don't think I'm ever going to play this. We played it one night after we streamed Lethal Company?
Phasmophobia, I think.
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia. Oh, and what
After
a
we
night that
streamed-
was. We were high on
a great night.
camaraderie.
Yeah. And we had such
I
a
was
great time. Then
literally
we played some Starship Troopers, and at the end of it, I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't think I'm ever going to play this game again. So I had to look up, how do you refund a game on Steam? Because I thought I had never done it before. But I put this in the show notes, and then upon looking at this, I looked at the history, my purchase history. Turns out that I actually have. And that game was in 2021, Dwarfheim was returned.
Oh,
So,
no. I remember
yeah.
Dwarfheim, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
that
I think
one-
that game is like, they got rid of it. It's not even on Steam anymore.
Oh, shit.
Really?
Damn. That,
I think-
oh,
Yeah. I
was
think
so
they
hyped
just
for
flat
that.
out
Bobby's
abandoned it.
refunding it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So good thing I did, but yeah. So apparently this wasn't the year that I learned how to refund games on Steam.
Bobby, 2 things for you. One, the other night when we were looking what to play together, we ended up playing the finals, which was such a great night of games, man.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we played that. But I first suggested to you For the King 2, and you're like, I don't own it. And then I was like, later on, I thought about it. I was like, oh, you should have bought it, played it for 2 hours, and then returned it. But little did I know, you didn't know how to fucking return things. But yeah, we should have tried it out. Just, I'm sure Nick, maybe you'll play it with me. I
Play
don't know.
what? For the King 2?
Yeah.
I still haven't touched it, dude, and it's literally been sitting in my library for like 3 months.
Well, at least you have it. And
Yeah,
then,
I do have it.
uh,
So does Leslie, and it's a 4-player game now too, by the way.
Bobby, the other thing is, I'm curious if I guess you don't know, but do you like the way that you did Sea of Thieves, or would you have liked to ride the initial wave when it blew up? I think I think on release it didn't blow up, but then a couple months after, a few patches later, it really blew
Yeah, I
up.
don't know. I spent a lot of time away from that game. I played it right when
Yeah.
it came out and just couldn't really get into it, and then kind of dipped a toe every now and then. But I'm totally fine with how that all worked out because, in my opinion, the game's getting better and better. Like they
Yeah.
just season 10 came out not too long ago. They've added a whole bunch of new stuff. Like they're always adding to the game, and in my opinion, just getting better.
I got to play a couple nights of Sea of Thieves as well, and as someone who was there for the first like 2 months of the game releasing and playing every day for like 3 to 4 hours, I would say the current version is like way better. I would rather play now than I would before. The only issue is that my friends are all busy. We're all of a sudden now picking up PUBG again for some reason. I don't know
Dude,
why.
I saw you on that. What the
Gross.
fuck? What's wrong
That's
with
so
you?
random.
Go to a therapist.
yeah.
Don't open the game. Like, do yourself a favor,
Was it-
dude.
Dude,
I mean, is it fun? Nick?
it's fun. It's fun as shit. So PUBG used to run like a potato on a treadmill, and now it's way better. The only main issue now is the fact that like there's bots, and I think it's really only in an unranked games, and that's why they require you to get to level 80 to be able to play ranked games. Which get to level 80 is at least like, I don't know, 40 hours of playtime, and so it's pretty rough. But I think that's how they did, like, they get people out of rank with bots. I've only ever ran into a hacker once out of like, I don't know, 90 games, which used to be the biggest problem, and the reason why we all stopped playing PUBG is because there's so many hackers. Like you would see people literally teleport on top of a drop that's midair and then pick up everything and then come off, and then all kinds of shit. The game's super predatory now, though, when it comes to crafting and money. But nothing is pay to win, nothing is pay to access. It's all just cosmetics, which is nice, I guess. But yeah, I just picked it
Okay.
up randomly. It's fun.
All right, we're still talking about PUBG in 2024.
That's insane. Oh. Cool. Anything
All
else in this section that anyone wants to go over before we hear from someone special?
Yeah, Bobby. Let's hear.
All right. Let's hear from our next listener, white but still hip, about what his favorite game of the year was.
Hey, this is White but Still Hip. Game of the year is Baldur's Gate 3, and honestly, I don't see a legitimate argument for any other game if you even remotely enjoy RPGs. By the way, I was one of the people who totally didn't even realize that the Underdark existed in my first playthrough. So after I listened to last week's episode, or whichever week it was, I realized that's as good a reason as any, to go back and do a second playthrough. This time I'm going to be Asterion. I'm going to fuck my entire party. It's going to be amazing. Baldur's Gate 3, easy.
Hell yeah.
Unfortunately, even with Asterion, you can only romance so many people before the game says no. So you have to download the Romance Everybody You Want mod.
How do you know this, dude?
Because
You
people were on the Reddit were like, you can't sleep with everybody through a playthrough. Why is it not an achievement? And so it's like stuff like that.
That is true. Why is it not an achievement? I can get an achievement for punting a squirrel into a wall, but not fucking everyone.
They have an Emilio achievement as well. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this one. So when you take a long rest, you have to choose supplies. And so usually like each thing, like a carrot will be a value of 2, but you have to reach a value of 40 to be able to long rest. And if you play on hard mode, you get 80. Well, the thing is, if you long rest and you choose nothing but alcohol, that's an achievement. It's a hidden achievement to be able to get all 40 points with just alcohol.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
But
it's
once
definitely good.
again, let's get that straight. You can get an achievement for just being an alcoholic, but you won't get an achievement for being a little hoe. That's not fair. This is
That isn't fair.
2024.
Yeah. This is 2024. That's a weird phrase to hear, and yes, it is. Yeah.
So here at the DL Gaming Podcast, we've been beating our heads against the wall about how can we get more listeners? How can we get you guys to help us out? And then I did some internet searching, and I came up on this idea from the 80s originally, and then redone in the 90s. Go ahead and play that bean footage, man.
Well, you know how these things start. One guy tells another guy something, and then he tells 2 friends, and they tell 2 friends, and they tell their friends, and so on, and so on, and so on. You know how these things go.
That's an okay way to go about it. But here at the DLG, we like exponential growth. So get ready for this. You go out tomorrow and you tell 3 friends. And they tell.
Do we know that our listeners have 3 friends?
They tell 3 friends, and they tell 3 friends, and I've done the math, and I think it's 99% more growth potential than that last clip that you just heard.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was the 80s. The technology has come so far.
the technology.
You can tell a lot more friends things way easier now.
Yeah. I mean, I told 5 coworkers, and like Bobby has said before in the past, like nobody cares at work. So if we can get 3 friends, that is going to be golden. Yeah, the golden
That's gonna
rule.
be golden. But
It
make
was
sure
weird.
that those 3 friends tell 3 friends.
Follow up with them. Follow up on your leads.
Right.
Yeah.
Make it like a scary pyramid scheme cult thing, you know? Just be like, did you tell anybody about this?
Knock on people's doors who you don't really know. Sorry, don't do that. It
Buy
was
Ernie
weird
stickers.
when I made after I posted some of the reels. I had some of my friends like the podcast page because like our accounts are linked, and I was like, oh, I don't know, that's pretty close to home. I don't know about that one, but yeah. So I'm doing my part. You could say, you know.
I'm doing my part.
Speaking of things not doing their part, this is the part of the show where we're going to talk about bullshit categories, which are categories that we've invented in regards to Game of the Year or the Game of the Year episode. For example, my category is best game to buy and never play again because you got distracted. And my nominees this year are Rogue Trader, For the King 2, Destroyer, the U-Boat Hunter, and Half-Life Alyx.
And what won, Nick?
For me, it's Rogue Trader because I really gotta go play that game again. It's my date night game with Leslie.
Wait, you're
and
skipping
still-
on date night, dude?
Well, we're doing other shit on date night, you know,
Oh,
like watching
gotcha,
movies and stuff. But
See, go back to Rihanna's Anal Beats.
yeah, you know, there you go. We might have to bring those in. We might have to buy a pair of those.
See, I feel like Half-Life Alyx would be a strong contender because it's VR. I feel like
It really is.
the barrier to entry for
Dude.
VR games is a lot higher.
When I was playing that game, I'm like, I don't need drugs anymore. This is so fucking crazy. Not that I need drugs, but I mean, like, there's no need for drugs anymore. This is so surreal. And then I still don't play it. You know what I mean? Like, because it's such a commitment putting something on your face. And
Yeah, and you
turning-
just took
tuning out
drugs
the world.
instead.
Yeah, let's go back to drugs.
Drugs are cheaper.
Nick, do you know how hard I worked? Do you know how much basking in the hot sun, staying out late at night, the moon was shining on my face, freezing to death in the Canadian winterlands to get you the code for Destroyer, the U-Boat Hunter?
I
Only
know.
for
I
you
gotta
to
play it,
never
dude.
play
I
it?
gotta play it in the fucking video. I'm so sorry. I knew
I'm
this was
just
gonna come
joking.
up.
It wasn't.
You're like, can I get one of those 10,000 keys we have for this game?
It's all good. It's all good.
I'll definitely play it.
You heard it here
Yeah.
first, folks.
I definitely will play all the games on this list.
Ooh.
Sure. Until he's like,
2024 go.
ooh, look at that piece of candy. Yeah.
There's no new good games in a while.
What's
Like,
that?
3 or 4 months.
PUBG? Players
Yeah.
unknown backgrounds.
I have friends. Okay, you want to know why I've been playing so much? I was supposed to see these motherfuckers when I went to California, and I got COVID, and I had to spend 10 days in my parents' house.
That
And so
really
I'm like,
sucks.
I got to play extra games with them. So
Yeah.
that's why.
We all make
fair.
sacrifices for the people we love. I would play
Very good.
Players Unknown Battlegrounds for close family, probably. My category is best game to play when you have to watch a cat recover from surgery. So our cat, Cherry, had surgery, and a part of her medication that she had to have, she was beside me, basically, for a lot of nights. I had to stay up and watch her and give her medication. She was on 3 medications. They were all on different hours, so it was kind of a lot. So I played a lot of video games. My nominees are Victoria 3, Battletech, Rome 2 Total War, and Mechabellum. I'm looking for games that I can pause and give medication to. I'm looking for games where I don't have to focus 100% on the game. I can, 80 game, 20% cat. That's the ideal thing I'm looking for here. So
It's a dad game, dude.
a dad game, yes, yes.
Yeah, dad
And
games.
I'm going to have to say Victoria 3 because what am I doing? Watching little numbers go up, watching my buildings build themselves, checking in on my political parties, seeing, what did they think in the 1880s? Spoiler alert, nothing good. It's a lot of it's a lot of bad shit. But yeah, had a lot of fun with Victoria 3. Thank you for being a pausable spreadsheet simulator that is still pretty fun to play. Yeah.
I mean, that does kind of sound like a lot of work, though. But I'm just kind of saying that to use as a good segment into mine, because my category is that, you know what, having a job isn't enough. But these games, and one of these games is really the best video game for having a job and then paying for it instead of being paid like your actual job. And so, sorry, that's loud. But yeah, so we've got Overcooked. A lot of people love this game. Fucking, this game is the epitome of a goddamn job to me. And then Ark I put on here because at least Ark is like so grindy. You're like a dinosaur breeder, you're a farmer, you're doing all these things. But that is Ark is certainly like work, especially when you are on sleep like timetables to get on to the game at a certain time, so that then it turns into a job, right? I'm not wrong. Like, it does get that sweaty. So not for broadcast, kind of for obvious reasons. You're sitting there like filtering the media and have to be right on top of people, like right when they say something wrong, so that way it doesn't go into media. That's a fucking job. And then Space Lines from the Far Out, where you are a flight attendant that's taking care of a bunch of like little baby human. They're not literal babies. They're just humans that apparently like will shit their pants in the middle of a flight and stuff because they got scared because an asteroid came by. So, it's basically taking care of children in a full-time job. And so I get started talking this because my one coworker talked about how much she loved Overcooked because it was so much like work. And I cringed very hard from that because I play video games to not work.
Because that sounds like some German shit.
Yeah, well, my job is a lot of like time management and stuff. Like Overcooked really is a great example of what my job is like, where you're kind of taking care of like multiple things going on at once and trying to accomplish tasks all at the same time. So time management, but which is why also to Overcooked to me wins at being a job that you pay for that you don't get paid.
Congratulations to Overcooked 2. Yeah,
yes.
we need some more fanfare for the winners here. Yeah.
Hey, Days, when we're short on time, do you guys throw samples at each other like an Overcooked? Like, gotta get that thing in the
from across the room.
It's more like labels and like paperwork. These days, it's like, why? Yeah.
There was a while there. Bobby was playing some games that could have done well in here. He was playing like Space Viscera Cleanup Detail.
Dave the Diver is another one that probably could go on this list. I just didn't want to put games that like I personally have not played on it, but I do feel like a lot of games fit into that category.
You'd be surprised how little of that game is running the sushi bar. It actually is a smaller part, but I guess there's other things to do, like manage the farm.
Is there there's a house flipper. There's the power wash one. Those are all just jobs.
They are.
Yeah.
Dude, there's so many of them on the Switch because like since my laptop is dying and I want a game, I've been like trying to play my Nintendo Switch a lot more, and I was looking at all the deals, and all the deals are basically like, yeah, let's put your ass to work, but you're gonna pay us for it. You want to sit there and be a delivery driver simulator? Like, it's so wild.
There's a gardening one called Mexican for a Day. It's terrible. Terrible reviews.
Probably underpaid as well.
Wow.
Yeah, underpaid for sure.
Get the cops calling you.
All right. For my category, so when I was trying to come up with a category, all I could think about was just how much better at video games I am than you guys, like in general. Like not like, I mean, maybe there's a game here or there where you guys are better than me, but for overall, I feel like I'm on another level.
Like Risk
so or
chess. Sorry, keep going.
But what's the best game that showcases how much better I am at everybody? And some of these take a little bit of explaining. So Phasmophobia. So Nick has the hours, but if you look at how many hours I have and how much I've accomplished and how good I've gotten at the game, pretty impressive.
I mean, you're kind of carried.
Haven't quite figured out not dying in a closet and shutting the door, but nobody's perfect. Sea of Thieves, put a ton of hours into that. I was surprised. So I talked to a lot of people that played Sea of Thieves, and then I played with them, and they don't really do PvP. But I went right into the PvP, and you know what? I get blown up a lot, but every now and then I sink somebody, and it feels real good. The finals just came out, played it for like 2 hours, just instantly good, just a natural at it. I'm healing, I'm
He really
killing,
was.
killing.
He was
It's,
doing some fucking.
what
I was
build
like, dude,
are
you're
you
like an
playing all the
action
time?
hero, dude.
The
You-
medium. Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And then of course Lethal Company, because I don't try to face tank turrets, which is not that hard to do.
It was a moment of testing, okay?
And
That
He
That
there
said
was
he
also a pretty good
sacrificed
moment
himself for science.
where Nick fell off a bridge and didn't make a jump. That was pretty hilarious. What was hilarious about that, by the way, Lethal Company's got to be the winner here because we've got the footage to prove it. But what was hilarious about when Nick fell off there is I jumped over first, and then all I hear from behind me is just like, whoa, shit. And then I look around, or I look behind me, and Nick is just gone. He's not there. He's just in the bottomless pit below. And then later, Nick actually was recording, and he uploaded that footage to the Google Drive, and I got to see it from his perspective. And it was even funnier that way.
Because I screamed, I was like, ah!
Bobby, an infamous moment for me is when you say it's like you're playing chess, but the people you're playing chess with are eating the pawn. That was maybe one of the funniest things ever said that I've heard in my fucking life, dude. Because then after I watched the actual clips of what you guys were doing, you weren't lying. you weren't lying at all. Yeah.
You guys, we need to play Lethal Company, and we need to play it with one mod
Yes.
in particular. There's a mod called the Skinwalker mod,
Oh, Jesus.
and what it does is it uses AI to replace it gives a new mob into the game, and it replaces the mob's voice with the user's voices
Oh,
after
God.
recording them for the first 5 minutes of play.
Oh.
And it's like, hey Emilio, or like, I'm over here, guys, or it's like, and it would be like Bobby's voice, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so terrified.
That's
dude.
awesome.
dude.
Yeah, it's
We
nuts.
definitely need to play that game again.
Yeah, it's so good.
But
I
what?
guess I'm up.
Yeah, you're up.
The best game that proves that I'd rather be playing D&D, but I don't have the time nor the friends. So I was looking at I don't know how many 57 games that I played this year on Steam alone, or whatever it was, and I saw the through line. There's like a lot of role playing on here. There's a lot of adventuring, D&D based stuff. So Final Fantasy VII, Baldur's Gate 3, Stolen Realm, and Wildermyth. Wildermyth got game of the year the prior year, I think, from PC Gamer or something like that. But anyway, obviously this one has to go to Baldur's Gate because it's almost exactly like playing D&D, but virtually. So with a story, like a long-term story that's a through line that goes through the whole thing. So a little boring, but yeah, I like these games, and I'm 100% sure when I live in a retirement home, I'm going to try to be getting a D&D game going.
D&D
Nice.
at the retirement
Hell
home.
yeah.
Yep.
Is Baldur's Gate gonna sweep the DLG Game of the Year episode?
No
Stay
spoilers.
tuned. I don't know. No spoilers. Yeah, fuck. All right, Bobby.
All right. Well, we've got another listener who recorded some audio here about their favorite game this year. This one is from Scram TX.
There have been so many great games this year, from Hogwarts Legacy to Dave the Diver, but hands down, it's not even a contest. Game of the year, probably game of the decade, maybe even best game ever made, Baldur's Gate 3.
Wow.
Short, succinct.
Short and sweet.
Why does it
Yeah.
sound like he was fucking recording that in the closet, hiding from his
Because
wife?
he was Dave the Diver. No, he was diving underwater and like getting his sushi.
He can't
like,
tell
I'm just
anyone.
taking a moment.
All his friends
She's
or
like-
family are like, dude, stop playing Baldur's Gate. He's like, He's like, Baldur's Gate is the best.
Look, my family will kill me if they know I'm taking this and it's going to be put on the air.
Hmm. But it's pretty fantastic. It's always nice to hear from our listeners of what they like. We're gonna take a short little break. I'm bringing to you this episode was brought to you by the newest role-playing game called Legends of the Mitten: Quest Around Michigan. I'm going to read this in, of course, a beautiful Midwest accent brought to you by ChatGPT. So imagine it, guys. The scene opens with majestic shots of Michigan's diverse landscapes, from the shores of Lake Superior to bustling cityscapes of Detroit. And that's when you hear, howdy there, fellow Michiganders and adventurers alike. Buckle up your boots, because we're going to be taking an exhilarating journey through the heartland of Michigan. Don't know why we're Southern, but we are. So, you gather up, you get your gear, you rally your crew, and you're going to delve into the fantastical world of Legends of the Mitten. You got to choose your path through forest, or caves, or urban landscapes, because there are caves in Michigan, that's for sure. You're going to encounter mystical creatures inspired by Michigan folklore, like the mighty Wendigo or the crafty Michigan Dogman. And so you got to craft your own legend as you uncover secrets hidden within the depths of Kitchity-Kippy, or as you navigate through the bustling streets of Ann Arbor. You got to harness the power of Michigan's natural wonders and channel it into epic quests. So join the adventures and become a legend of the Legends of Mitten: The Quest Around Michigan, available now on all gaming platforms. And you know what? If you can't get it as a game, well then maybe hopefully we can get it at DLG Con. This whole thing was a fucking ad for DLG Con. Yes, that's right. You heard it. I wanted to be in Michigan. Let's do it. So that leads us into our great next category, which is the community or listener or Patreon category. And so, Bobby, you want to lead us off, speaking of DLG Con?
Yeah, I thought we could vote on what was the best DLG Con that we've had. So we've had 5 of them now. And listing them all out, I realized 3 have been in San Diego. There's, of course, the first one that we did in 2019, right there on the beach in San Diego. The second one was tough because that was during the heart of COVID, really, but we still made it happen.
Got COVID.
Some people got COVID, although not from DLG Con. Some people brought COVID. And then after that, we went to Las Vegas, which was a different DLG Con. It was a lot of fun, but it was definitely different than the other ones. And then, of course, Austin, Texas in 2022, that was an experience. And then for the 5th year, we brought it back to San Diego, in my hometown, a little deeper into the eastern side of San Diego, but with an amazing house. So for me, the best were really the first and the last one. The first one's kind of hard to top because that was the first time a lot of us met each other in person. And it was just... I don't know. There's just no topping meeting everybody for the first time. Now, the last one I also really like because we've gotten pretty good at doing this. You know, Days has gotten really good at setting this up. Pretty good at doing this. Yeah, I mean, she does quite a bit to make this happen. But we were rolling some footage there. We got some good footage. We had a good time. We played lots of games. Like I felt like we did everything right in the last DLG Con. So it's kind of between those 2 for me, but what do you guys think?
I think you should choose a winner, Bobby. This
okay.
is an award show.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to go with the first one.
First one? Yeah.
The first one. Wrong. Yeah. No, shook. Nice. Good pick. I like the Vegas one. I like going to a new place and not going to the Vegas Strip. I thought was super interesting. Maybe for you guys who have probably been to Vegas a lot more than us Canadians, maybe explored it. But yeah, I mean, I had the best sushi of my life on that one, which I think is a great experience. So yeah.
Hell yeah. For me, it's like a tie between the first one for the same reasons you said. It's really hard to top the first one. And Chi mostly planned that one, but like that one was super fun because it's also the beginning. It's what started all of it, right? And so that's what was really cool. I was actually like thinking about trying to make like my categories like the best moments in DLG Con, but I didn't want it to compete too much with what you were doing with your categories. But it obviously plays into like what for me is the best DLG Con. And one of the funniest things to me about the first year is that we totally had an NPC just running around naked that jumped into the pool. And where is that guy? Who knows anything about that guy? Some random dude. And then, I think the 4th year, to me at least for Austin, was really special special, but that's because a lot of those guys that also showed up, I've played so many shooters with and stuff, and Call of Duty and Tarkov. And so for me, that was like two communities combining together. And to watch Emilio come from Brisket for the first time, like in real time, was really beautiful as well. I like walked in and just watched the gates of heaven open in his eyes as he tried Duder McBadass's meat, and it was a special moment, you know. And so, but the last year, I mean, we killed it. Yeah, this last year was really great. So I'd
Yeah,
say, yeah.
I agree. I guess for me personally, going to Austin was something I wouldn't have done. I wanted to do and never did, and maybe wouldn't have done outside on my personal life. So it was great. But ultimately, like DLG for DLG's sake, probably number one because a lot of people came. It was a super nice house in a super epic location, and it made us look like we knew what the fuck we were doing. It was so expensive, but yeah, it was very nice. And John fucking made sure nobody starved in a really good way. Yeah, I think it has to go to number one. But yeah, we're getting better at this. Like it was it was lightning in a bottle for number one, and the last one is a refined machine. Like we're getting better at this.
Do you think you guys would have done DLG kind of again if the first one didn't go so well?
That's a good question. Maybe.
Probably not.
I don't think
to
we
be
even,
honest.
when we first did it, I don't think we even planned to do it again at all. It was kind of after it was over that we're like, we should do this again next year. This was a lot of fun.
The way
Well,
the way
how
I
did
see
that start,
DLG,
Amanda?
Okay.
Yeah, like it was. I remember that she originally like had a bunch of people that were going to meet up with her and like rent out a house for TwitchCon, and then it kind of turned into like, why don't we just make it kind of like a DLG TwitchCon thing, where like a bunch of people from the community could come stay with us, and then like a bunch of people could go to TwitchCon, and then pretty much nobody went to TwitchCon and they stayed at the house because they had so much fun that like it was just like, oh my god, we've got something here. Like we really should just keep trying to do this and like organize this with the community. And then of course COVID hit. So and then at that point it was kind of like, well, fuck it. I think we need this actually as a community. I think a lot of us do need it. And I felt that way too, like even with this last year, like I know I needed it. I think everybody that showed up kind of needed it as well, of like a break and just a good time to enjoy a wonderful time of playing board games and nerding out about video games with some really cool people that we have really spent a lot of time online with that we then get to do in real life with, which is like so amazing.
And eating delicious carnitas.
Yeah, well, the carnitas were
wow.
super good, dude. Yeah, they really were. And honestly, like they were so fire in the quiche. Like they
Yeah.
like that was they were so good in the quiche.
They were
And that was
loved by
something that-
everyone.
They were really they were like, and so I mean I think that one of the things that I loved so much about this past year in comparison to all the other years that I think stands out and why to me like the fifth year kind of held its own in the top was that we did have like a community potluck almost, which also took a lot of the work off because like shout out to JP Diddy, seriously every year that dude has like fed the entire house, and that is a huge task and so much work and so much mental load and labor and everything. And sorry, but the fact that everybody kind of took a turn doing that last year, like I think really helped and also really made it amazing because a lot of people got to showcase a lot of incredible things that they could make. And it was just kind of like one thing that you had to do, right? And so it was like, I remember when Lotion was grilling up a bunch of kebabs and different skewers and things like that, and shrimp, and Diddy, of course, with the quiche every year. That's now a tradition. And so the food is phenomenal. And I really appreciate the people that have showed up every year and the ones that have put the work in as well. And it's awesome.
Last little thing that when you were talking, I was thinking about something. Board games didn't come until San Diego 2 or the second one because of COVID, I feel like, or something. There was very little board games. And then ever since the second one, it's been pretty board game heavy, which I'm very happy about. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That also leads me into my section, dude. Thank you. Thank you for that, setup, because I'm going to take it. So to me, my category is the best board game or party game that I have learned about from a listener over the years. And so I remember, I think the second year of DLG Con is when I was introduced to Coup. by JP Diddy, which has become such a staple in like every DLG con since
you
then.
get
Shout out to the
dominated.
real Duke, the tag Loro of the group.
Yeah.
Like, every year he sweeps house as the fucking Duke. Like so, and I think with the Binding of Isaac, I can't remember. I really feel like it was you, Emilio, that introduced it. It might have been Cricket, or maybe you guys both knew about it.
Probably at the same time. We probably played a game together, but yeah, nobody beats me at that game.
Yeah, and that game's just phenomenal. Such an awesome like crossover too, to take from like a video game world and put it into a board game, because it's a fantastic board game.
I just really quick with that one. I played with Mila and Sam like the weekend before last, and they had so much fun. They both want to play. Sam really likes Binding of Isaac because she sees the items and she's like, "Oh, this is." I'm like, "Yeah. I've been trying to get you to play this." So yeah, they love it. And these are non-board game players, you know.
It's so great when it clicks like that too. You guys were talking earlier about like when a game clicks, and I think with a board game it's kind of like that too. And for me, like the whole nostalgic thing plays into one of the other ones I put on here was Oregon Trail. Ashley brought that, I think, in Vegas is when that one got introduced into the DLG circle or whatever. And Oregon Trail is like one of my go-to games. It's like the easiest one to bring, and like tons of people. It's super easy to explain. Like it's a lot of fun. And I have this thing going where it seems like the person that wants to play the game the most, like when I'll introduce it to people, like, yeah, I have the Oregon Trail. The person in the group that is the most excited tends to die in the first 3 turns from snake bite or dysentery, which to me is like hilarious as fuck because it happens all the time. And I'm like, this is something. And so it's too funny. So if you really want to play Oregon Trail, you will die on the trail. That's the moral of the story.
There's a lot of insta kills in that game.
There are a lot of insta kills. Definitely. And then JP Diddy has brought a lot of amazing board games. I think that has really entered into the like lexicon of board games that just continuously make it every year. Like Dungeon Mayhem is one of the ones that he brought. Super fun, really amazing, really fast play as well, and like a lot of really great like D&D characters, including some Baldur's Gate characters that are in there. And I remember like I think this past year he brought like the massive box that has just like every single character that you could play, and there's so many now at this point, but that one was super fun as well. And then I think, Christian, you were the one that introduced us all to Gartic Phone, right? Or was that Taylor?
I think it was Taylor, yeah.
Okay,
he's the one who introduced me at least.
You mean the Duke?
I mean the Duke himself.
The Duke. The
Taylor. Tag Loro.
Tag Loro introducing Gartic Phone, and that game is so funny and so amazing. I do remember it's kind of wild though when you do one of the draw ones and there's like 20 some people, because I do remember we were all sitting there and you and Rihanna were like, guys, it's worth it. Just stick with it. It's worth it. And it so was. It so was. And it's so funny. And like that kind of mixes with Telestrations After Dark, also a phenomenal board game that I
we lost her. No, her laptop. She's back. She's back. She's back.
It's a Christmas miracle.
I don't know if we can hear
her. Her
input's changed. I don't know if she can hear us. Oh, it so sucks.
Oh no.
Okay,
her laptop's on the fritz, and she said that it would be so romantic that it died at the end of this episode. I don't know if that's what's going on. It could be, maybe. But,
I think we had a quick restart. Just have to plug in the inputs again, maybe. But in the meantime, I don't know how you guys feel about this list. A couple of these games on this list have become staples in my house. Like, I just bought my parent-in-law's Coup, and they all love it, you know? Like, they're like, oh, a game of lying and deception? That's fucking awesome. And that's from DLG Con, which is kind of cool.
What's funny is that
it's a game against everything that Canadians are born and raised for.
What's funny is that with Coup, it was a game that I played before, and I played with my friends before ever, being to any of the DLG cons or anything. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. It's time to get on. Like it's like it was go time as soon as I saw it at DLG Con in Austin.
You were like a sleeper agent. You were like, I've been to Coup before.
Yeah. Coup is my version of Emilio's categories. What that means is that every time we have like a family gathering, whether it's like Thanksgiving or Christmas, he'll always bring a box of categories and just leave it at that person's house. He's like, bye, like we brought categories.
Yeah.
But for me, I will always buy coup and then I'll leave it at someone's house. Like I looked at my brother and sister-in-law's house and I was like, all right, bye. Like, I'll see you soon. Bye.
I do
It's
have to
so
give
fun.
a shout out to Dungeon Mayhem because it's so easy to get people to start. It's the easiest game in the world. It's so easy. And like you just be like, hey, do you want to play Dungeon Mayhem? I've never played. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell everybody it doesn't matter. If just sit
Because the
down
reason
and it'll go fine.
the reason being, and it's very much like, well, coup is way harder to teach people. But
Yeah.
the reason why Dungeon Mayhem is so good is because of the fact that you get to kind of learn the game based off of your little character that you have. Like you have all the rules explained of what your character does on your card. So you give everybody 5 minutes to read their card and then boom, everyone's ready to go, really. As long as there's one person kind of directing or somebody who's played before, the game goes super quick.
I would say, even
Dungeon-
though it's not the best game on this list, it's my highest recommended because it'll just get you into playing.
It's so good in so many different situations.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
introduced it to a couple of friend groups and my parent-in-laws as well. And it the feedback they had is like people who don't play board games very much was like, oh, when I die, I'm just out of the game forever. You know, like they had like
But
weird.
You're a ghost.
Well,
can
you
poke
are a
people.
ghost, but but they're like, what's this?
A vengeful ghost.
Yeah, so if I bring out the Oregon Trail to these people, like our relationship is over. They're like, oh, I'm out of the game in the first 3 turns for no reason for RNG. Like, yeah. Okay.
I'll
the
pick
ghost-
a winner for her. No, we'll wait. Nick, you got some stuff.
Yeah, so I had a very intimate moment with the community when it came to like things to do. I was tasked with getting a design done for our new sticker, and it was really one of the moments I've ever been on the show that I had a lot of direct interaction with people in the community. A large group of people, actually, I believe over 30 people participated actively on that project. And this was the category is these are the nominees for people who helped out during the process and who I appreciate the most. I appreciate all of you equally, except for one person in particular. The nominees are Zap, Cricket Soldier, Pyronical, and Tagloro. And hands down, it has to go to Tagloro. The reason I say that is this motherfucker is so active in the community when it comes to like being in the shadows. He's like, hey, this person voted twice. This person did this. This person did this. You can't see this, but this is what's going on. He's so communicative. And then he also helped me announce who won the gift card for that. And so it was a really nice process because it kind of went over 2 weeks, I think, was the whole thing. And then I talked to so many people. So many people direct messaged me. So many people wrote me messages in the Discord itself. And so it was really nice being able to interact with the community. And thank you, all 4 of you. Honorable mention to the lotion. I can only put 4 people on here because I don't know. It's just tradition apparently for nominating things. So
It is, yeah. Once you have 5 nominations, although didn't the Game Awards have some categories where there's like 6 or 7 nominees?
yeah, that was the case for some of the quicker ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I have 4
What-
nominees too.
yeah, I was about to say, didn't you have something that had to do with the community directly?
Believe it or not, these are the best listener questions. And this isn't my opinion. This is science. These are facts. So these are kind of, I'm going to read the listener questions and who asked them. So it's a bit of a spiel. But the nominees are Zap. And he said, what's something nerdy your normal friends wouldn't expect you to like? What's something normal your nerdy friends wouldn't expect you to like? I feel like that just generated a great discussion. It's like a little bit of a body swap thing. I loved it. Adam said, if someone says, this is my favorite game, what game would make you instantly judge them? And obviously that game is called PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Like, no questions asked that way. So great question there. Warconius says, there are so many things going on that require your time and attention, like career, family, PC gaming, investment, sports, fitness. It's really hard to manage all. How do you achieve a live-life balance? Sometimes I'm alone in the shower or like just living my life and I'm like, live-life balance. That's a good one, you know? And then another one for Workonius. I mean, he asked so many questions. He asked 33% of all listener questions this year, guys. So, I mean, that's why he's on here twice. He says, if you developed a survival crafting game that was based on The Lion King and you had to discover prides of lions, how terrible would the game be? Better or worse than a game based on Gollum from Lord of the Rings? Which, I mean, it's such a good... It's a great question to ask. I feel like it's a great question to ask. So,
It's the only question to ask.
yeah. I have
Dude,
to give
some of his questions are so niche. They're so good.
Workonius with your last question. I feel like
Workonius.
you swept it, bud. So thanks for always asking questions. You keep us entertained and you help us entertain people as well. So it's definitely appreciated.
Days, are you back?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
That's a fucking X-nay on the 4, Dave, buddy.
Amelia, did you ever get to talk about your recommendations or your
did not.
nominations?
I was beating my head against the wall. I don't know. And I was like, oh, who recommends the best shit? You know? And Zap, I mean, I've literally bought probably $7,000-8,000 worth of items. No, $1,500 worth of items on his recommendations, and for a reason. Like this desk right here, Zap. The Wi-Fi that you're hearing me on, Zap. And then a few other things, but yeah, like he always comes through. He does research, and he's not pushy about his recommendations. Like another person on here. Oh, he's not on here. I left him off, but it was Nick. Nick hits you with so many recommendations that, like, you don't know which ones are good. So that's why I left them off the list.
You don't know which ones are true. I mean,
yeah, you don't know which ones are true. JP Diddy, he is a special kind of guy. He will introduce you to amazing restaurants 3 blocks from you that you didn't know were there. And while you're at breakfast, he is yelping the next restaurant for lunch, and at lunch he's checking out the one for dinner. Like it's crazy, and it's really well done. He knows what he's. He took me to the best fucking restaurant in San Diego, probably, and we've been there several times, and we're going next weekend when he flies in. So yeah, there's that. Bobby is incredible at separating the wheat from the chaff. Like, you need this, you don't need this, and it's cut and dry, and there you go. But he doesn't answer his phone, nor text, nor messages, or
He's
Discord,
got some.
or
This isn't a place
Well,
for too
all
much
that's going to
positivity.
change, dude. I got a new phone and I got a watch now too. So
Well,
I'm
you haven't
like,
talked about any one of these.
I literally just got them like the other day.
We'll talk about it next episode, I guess.
Yeah,
I can't wait to
dude.
hear.
But I've got things buzzing and ringing all around me, dude. Like it's just I'm connected now.
Oh, it's after Christmas. I think somebody got him somewhat. All right. And Sanguine, she has been doing lots and lots of On the Radar, like lots.
Yeah.
I think I used one of hers once and I said, hey, thank you. And then she was like, this is my job now. And it's been like 5 or 10 a week. So thank you for that. I got to go with Zap just because, like, it doesn't matter what I need a recommendation for. He's got one. So except for maybe games, but that's just because I haven't asked. Maybe I need to ask. He's a guru of things. Amanda, test.
Hello.
You
no,
provoke-
Amanda.
Can you hear us? Not if. Okay.
Okay, Amanda, give your segment with sign language and smoke signs, or however you want to communicate. It's good for the podcast list. Okay, 2 thumbs up. We just translate with our voices. Very excited. Amanda's running around like a mad scientist. She's smacking things, opening and closing her laptop, mixing potions together, doing hardcore theoretical physics on the chalkboard behind her, and nothing seems to be working. No, it's still not working. Sorry. Okay, goodbye. So the best board game, party game that she learned from a listener, I guess we can vote. You know, we have the unique opportunity to vote on this category because of technical difficulties, right? So,
Yeah,
Nick,
you're right.
What's your vote, Nick?
I'm gonna say Dungeon Mayhem.
Dungeon Mayhem. Okay, Bobby.
I will second Dungeon Mayhem, just because I love that game so much and it's so easy to learn. But Gartic Phone really started in the last DLG con, so we don't know if it probably has legs. Like it's probably something we're going to continue to do at all the other DLG cons, and I could see that becoming like a big game.
Gartic Phone's a runner.
I was on Dungeon Mayhem until Bobby just said that. I think Gartic Phone might be the clear winner.
Dude, Dungeon Mayhem is so casually fun to enjoy over drinks, but Gartic Phone I'll have to go with because you're building the bucket of water. It's above everyone's head. You take like these 15 minutes, nobody's talking. It's silent. And then when that bucket drops, everyone is like your belly hurts because you're laughing so hard. You know, it's so good. So I would have to go for Gartic Phone too.
Wait, so we're split 2-2 on Gartic Phone and Dungeon Mayhem. So we really need a tiebreaker here. So Amanda, if you give us a thumbs up for Gartic Phone or a middle finger for Dungeon Mayhem.
Yeah,
it's Dungeon Mayhem.
It's
double middle
Congratulations to double middle finger, Dungeon Mayhem.
Dungeon Mayhem. All right. But we love you, Gartic Phone. Except your name, which is
hey guys, can
really
I show you my
stupid.
Christmas present real quick?
And then before you fucking break it,
Yeah.
What is it?
It's like it's a Stein, I guess, a 3D printed Stein, and it holds.
Oh, yeah, I see.
it's a dice tower and a stein.
Hold on.
Okay,
Hey,
you're gonna have
shut
to
up,
point your
Nick.
mic at your face again. It's kind of drooping.
And you put your drink in it, and then when you want to roll your die, you put it in the top of the stairs. It comes out at the bottom of the stairs. You can see that?
I wish for you to have in real life friends to play Dungeons and Dragons with. Every night before I go to bed, that is what I wish for you. Like that is what I want for you.
Every time I go visit him, which has been like 4 or 3 now, I go, hey, I will host Dungeons and Dragons one shot for you and your family and Leslie. All you got to do is just convince them to play. No, they don't want to play. I can't play. I'm too tired.
Nick,
oh no, I got too drunk.
No one wants to. You're gonna do a Warhammer. I'm hearing the creak of Emilio's phone.
Dude,
but Nick, your one shot would be in the Warhammer 40k universe, dude. Like that's a very niche universe. You're
not
saying
at all.
no.
Like
no,
no, like the new like dude, the last 2 years, nothing has been Warhammer in D&D at all. And so yeah, I'm like, I will literally host things in the Baldur's Gate or D&D world and make whatever you want happen. So,
thanks, man.
And we might be visiting soon, anyways, in like 3 months.
Ooh.
So we'll see.
Congrats,
Amanda, you there?
She is.
She is frozen this time.
She's literally frozen.
Take a screenshot. That's the best shit I've ever seen, dude.
Okay, we're just skipping down Biblioclasm.
And give me your intense face. Intense face. There it is.
All right, what does our listener Biblioclasm have to say for his favorite game of the year?
This is Biblioclasm. My game of the year for 2023 is Dwarf Fortress on Steam. That's right, Dwarf Fortress, game that's been around for 19 or 20 years, but for the first 19 years, it didn't have any graphics. Well, guess what, guys? Now you can play Dwarf Fortress with happy pixel sprites, and all the visceral guts and bits of your dwarfs will come to life on your bright PC screen while you build a fortress and dig and manage your colony simulation sandbox roguelike that without which there would never have been RimWorld, there never would have been Minecraft, and the world would not be the same as we know it today. So yeah, Dwarf Fortress 2023. Go get it. Drop what you're doing, block off the next month of your life, and play. Bye.
Dude, I remember so long ago in like 2011, people were playing maybe it wasn't 2011. I have to look up the exact year. But when I was starting to game, people were playing Dwarf Fortress. And they're like, you have to play this awesome game. It's a bunch of plus signs and division signs and at signs. And I'm like, I'm not going to fucking play like, I can't understand what's going on even. I have to read a whole manual to figure out what all these symbols mean and what's going on screen before I even start playing the game. So, yeah, Dwarf Fortress. I feel like that's a great recommendation, Biblio. Thank you.
Days? No.
Oh, no.
Nope.
Um,
Oh man.
Christian, what about now? Would you try it now?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I think that one is one in the back of my head, but I know that, like you said, it's going to be like a month-long journey into the dwarf mines, and I'm going to become a dwarf. You know, I'm going to start growing a beard. I'm going to shrink a couple meters. I'm going to take on this personality. I'm going to dig a tunnel under my house. Like, it could be pretty intense. So
I read this headline that DRG and Dwarf Fortress they're like a united front trying to convince Valve to add dwarf as a tag on Steam, like a category.
that's funny. Yeah. That's a good.
There's dwarf metal now, by the way.
Well, anyone can add any tag on Steam, which is a fun fact. I don't know if I want to let loose this power onto the world, but you can tag anything on Steam. You can tag all your games, whatever bullshit you want, and if enough of you use the same tag, that tag will actually show up on like the front page of a game's page.
Time for a DLG bump tag.
Yeah.
DLG bump. Yeah. So use it responsibly, because on the developer side, it's really annoying to get rid of all these random tags. People are like misspelling strategy. They're like strategy, and they're like,
Spaghetti.
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 Spaghetti and meatballs.
We are
A
on
classic
to
Italian dish.
our Game of the Year segment. This is the best game we played in 2023 and why. This is what it's all leading up to. And Nick, this is brought to you by something special, right, Nick?
Yeah, so this year is an election year, but we don't give a shit about no American presidential elections. We want to know who people want to elect as the leader of the DLG podcast. And so, yeah, this is something that came across my feed, and I decided to upload it to the show. So let's
Right.
take a look at it.
Okay, I'm clicking.
What are the qualities of a good leader? Is it someone that can communicate well? Or maybe it's someone that can show empathy to others. Perhaps it's someone that knows how to have a good time. Emilio, aka Ender's Logic, is the supposed leader of the DLG podcast. But would you let this man, a clear degenerate who is obsessed with breasts, give you suggestions on video games? People don't know this, but if you play the same games as Emilio, you may end up alone and homeless, and somehow drunker than him. Some say the only reason he's on the podcast is because he funds it, but where does the money go? I'll tell you where the money goes. It goes to extravagant one-on-one dinners with his so-called best friend, JP Diddy. JP Diddy is a well-known international snake smuggler. These dinners and poor leadership can no longer be tolerated by the crew and the fans. Vote for Bobby as the new leader of the DLG podcast, and you'll have stability. Look at him. He may hold a mouse weird, but he's better than Emilio. I mean, really anyone is. This advertisement was paid in part by the Bobby Buddies Foundation, the Amanda Armada, and the Sniper Syndicate.
Oh, wow.
Okay, the listeners are finished with it too.
Sorry.
That's all good. I thought that was fucking great, Nick. Where did you come across this in the? How did you see this? Tell us the story.
What it was is that I had about 5 hours to kill in the last couple days, and I was like, "Hey, where can I get stock footage for free? So let me create this." And who I don't know who's gonna get my wrath next year for political ad, but yeah, it's always a blast to create those. It's fun. Day sent me a message. She says, "Bro, can you send me the ad you made? It was fucking hilarious." Yes, I will send you the ad. It's only on Google Drive, but we will have it. I don't know. Maybe we'll put it on our YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely put it on our YouTube.
Yeah. Or at least get it in the Discord.
Yeah. But
Cool.
for those who just listened to a minute and a half or a minute and 11 seconds of nothingness, we watched a political ad. It was a smear campaign made by the Bobby Buddies Foundation against Amelia about being the leader of the DLG podcast.
There's
So,
never been a leader, is the truth. It's a yin and yang. It's chaos and order. I'm being the order, and Bobby chaos.
are me and Days the dots and Snipers the
the
encircling
dots.
circle?
Yeah, you guys are the dots.
It's just porridge, guys. We all do something, and Bobby does most of the work, to be honest. Okay, cool. Game of the year. So everyone has 4 nominees. We all get to pick our own game of the year. None of this all game of the year nonsense, but I'm seeing a common thread through all these people's fucking suggestions. I'm seeing something I don't like, you know? No, just joking. I think that game deserves to be there. My nominees are South of the Circle, which is maybe the best story game I have ever played, and it's a point-and-click adventure. It surprised me how much I liked it. City Skylines 2, which is, you know, the best city builder out there right now. Dome Keeper, which is such a great, tiny mining game, and it's so awesome to play, and I put so much time into it that I want to go back to it. They've got a couple updates. And then Astroneer, because that's when I discovered how to play survival crafters so that they don't burn out. I mean, me and my friends played this for like 5 weeks straight, or 5 months straight, you know? That's never happened with me with a survival crafter before. It's like a 3-week at most whim, you know? So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Who do you guys think is going to win in this exciting category?
I think let's do this. Let's do our personal game of the year and then the overarching game of the year. How about that?
Okay.
Well, what was your personal game of the year, Sniper?
Oh, in this category, I'm asking, what do you
I think we all know it's going to be City Skylines 2.
Yeah, of course
Nope.
it's gonna be City Skylines 2.
What? Amanda, 2 middle fingers if you think it's City Skylines 2. Does everyone share this opinion? Oh my god. Is it really that obvious? Yeah, it's City
Yeah, you're
Skylines
basic.
2. Yeah. I'm so
You're the
Yay!
Starbucks Stanley girl of strategy games and city builders.
Okay, congratulations to City Skylines 2 Paradox. I'll send you your award in the mail. You really deserved it. They couldn't be here to give a speech today, but you know, I'm sure one day they might be. So, you know, here's hoping. Bobby, what was your year like?
So I've got an interesting array of games this year. And to be clear, these are games that didn't necessarily come out this year, but just the best game that we played in 2023. I don't usually play a lot of new games, but I have 2 2023 games on my list. Diablo 4, got really into that one. Dave the Diver, the indie darling. Kingdom 2 Crowns, which is a bit of an older game, but I really like this one. It's a simple 2D strategy, like 4X game. And I don't know, I just really got into that one. And then, of course, Sea of Thieves, which I think I spent the most time on. If you were talking just by the numbers, just by the hours, I think Sea of Thieves is my most played game, and I just absolutely love it and really fell in love with it this year.
What's
to
the
be
best
honest,
one? What's the best?
I didn't know going into this. I'm just like, well, I guess I'll pick one when I get there. And I'm leaning towards Dave the Diver just because it was, I don't know, it combined a lot of different things, and it did it in a really, I don't know. I don't have words to describe how, yeah, it was a pleasant game, but it just, I don't know. It really felt good. Being a huge fan of Stardew Valley, this just kind of took it to a whole nother level here. So for me, I think the best game that I played was Dave the Diver.
Dude, everyone who I've talked to who has played Dave the Diver has the same trouble explaining to me why they like Dave the Diver.
Yeah, because you start to explain it. You start to explain it, and it just sounds like all these other games, and it doesn't sound that good. You really have to play it to understand what makes it so good. It's not really any of the specific parts of it. It's the way they all come together. Yeah. So that's it for me. Nick,
out
what
of
do you
all
got?
those, I definitely would have thought that you would have chose Dave the Diver as well.
Yeah, I thought you were going to pick
Yeah.
David the Diver. Although I thought somehow you're such a contrarian, you're going to go with Kingdom Two Crowns just to like put yourself
Just
that
to shake it
far.
up. I
Yeah,
feel
just
like
shake it up.
in like the past 5 episodes, I've said, "Yeah, Dave the Diver, game of the year." Like I've kind of, I haven't
think
been
the other
too
thing is
shy
that
about it.
when-
I
when
think
you
I've said
talk
that
about-
multiple times on the podcast.
When you talk about Dave the Diver, like even when you don't say that, like you actually, it seems like you really like it, right? Like there's only so many finite things that you show compassion for, and like an actual like vigor towards that. When you talk about Dave the Diver, you're like, it's nice, it's really nice, it's a good
It's
game.
the only time
Everybody
you
should play it.
when you say David the Diver, it's the only time your eyes open fully.
Compassion and vigor, Bobby. That's
Wow.
That's quite the combination.
So as far as my nominees for Game of the Year, some recents and some oldies and some multiplayers and some solos, right? All of them are technically multiplayer. However, some you can definitely play solo. My nominees are Lethal Company. That's my indie darling on this one. Such a good game, and the modding community is even bringing it up even higher. Dude, it's one of those games where like we had to do in my Discord with my friends, we just type in the words "company men?" and then you get like 3 responses with company men, and that's what we refer to the game as company men. And so we all go play the game for like 2 or 3 hours. Baldur's Gate, obviously, it's such a huge game. It shook the game market and made people mad because it's so good, sort of how like Elden Ring did, 2-3 years ago. And so Baldur's Gate is one of those things now where I've played it so much, to include Act 1 and 2 and 3, where when I start a new campaign and it's not by myself, and I haven't started a new campaign by myself in a long time, that I'm sort of a Sherpa. Like I'm sort of the Groundhog Day, like I'm doing this all over again, and I'll start explaining things to people that, for example, like one of our listeners said he had no idea that the Underdark existed. My niece-in-law and her husband, we play every Friday, me and my wife, and I go, yeah, well, let's go to the Underdark. And they're like, what the fuck is the Underdark? And for those who don't know, and the game has been out for so long, this is a whole new underground area that is just as big as the above ground area, if not bigger. And so you can completely miss it. You can completely walk over it and not know. And so with that in mind, with the amount of passion from the game devs and the recipient from the community, that's why it's on the list. Street Fighter 6, one of the best fighting games I've ever played. So
Might be
good,
the
in
best,
fact,
dude.
I
It might
think
be the
it
best.
really is. I think it really is the best fighting game ever made right now. And I before that was Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that would have beaten that. Street Fighter 6 is an amazing game in the sense that like the solo game mode is so fun, and what you unlock in the solo game mode results into things in multiplayer, but it doesn't break multiplayer in any way. It definitely is easier to play because they introduced the simple combo system. But what's nice is for even the veteran players that play against the people that have the simple combo system, where you don't have to do as many inputs to be able to pull off a combo, the simple combo system has a reduced amount of damage for people using it. And so it doesn't feel like you're playing against like either a bot or a kid that's just button mashing. It really feels like you are at a balanced playing field. And the other thing is that the game tells you it's like this person's playing on the simple fighting controls, and you're playing on the normal.
It's kind of like a new driver having a faster car.
Exactly. But somehow the brakes are not as good. But what's good is that what I like it is that it's such a good game, and the new characters that have come out are so intriguing that I've switched my main until my actual main comes out to a 7-foot tall Greek lady, and it's been so fun. I want to get back into the game as soon as Akuma releases. I'll definitely be playing again. Lastly, I'm taking too long to talk about it. Counter-Strike 2, a revival of a game. It didn't have the best of launches, but I had so much time playing it, so much fun playing it. The changes that they made to ranked was so well received, and my group of friends and everybody. Some people didn't like it online, some people did. I think the update, like if you're gonna do an update, if you're gonna do a facelift for a game, especially a multiplayer one, Counter-Strike 2 is the way to do it. If you're going to do that to DayZ in 2 years, do it the same way Counter-Strike 2 did it. Make it free, make it fun, and just play the game. Like it make it free in the sense
Make
of
it work.
yeah, and make sure it works.
Is that what they did to PUBG?
They actually did. First of all,
Why is
made it
PUBG
free.
not on this list, Nicholas? That's weird.
no, PUBG's not on this list.
Dude, I want to say we gave
2024 game.
PUBG Game of the Year like in 2017 or something, though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Check the history books.
But PUBG's a 2024 game. Might be on the list. We know at the end of this year. But yeah, what do you guys think about those nominees?
It's obviously going to be Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, and, I mean, it was the one you talked the longest about, and when you talk, like, kind of poetry just forms out of your mouth, and it's the one I can tell you love the most, so.
You know what's interesting is that I was talking to my parents about this because I was trapped with them for 10 days. And they were like, you know, what's your favorite, you know, game to play? And I'm like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons is definitely up there, but I was talking about Baldur's Gate. I go, when you're playing something and there's something that you actively will move things and schedule things around to be able to play it with your friends and loved ones, that means that you love that game the most. Like I hate to tell you this, but like I'm a huge Metal Gear Solid fan and I'll always be, and it's my favorite game of all time is Metal Gear Solid 3. But I have moved so many fucking things in my life and changed schedules to be like, all right, I'm going to go play with these people this day, or I'm going to play with this group of people this day, or I'm going to play with my wife. Like when you make those movements and you make those adjustments where they directly impact your physical life, that's how you know you like the game.
I've brought it up on the podcast before. We all complain. We've talked about how bad it is that we complain about how we have no time for games. And so we're trying to cut back on that. But like, obviously we have no time. And then something will come out and all of a sudden you have 60 hours a week to go play a game, you know? Like if it's crazy enough, you'll go and do it.
You just don't have kids anymore, you know, or you just don't have a job anymore.
Yeah, who knows?
You know, I took some time
who
off.
Are those people? Who are those people depending on me? I don't know who they are.
Why are they in my house? Why are they not playing Baldur's Gate 3?
Where's our laptop?
Yeah. So who's the winner, Nick? Come on, no, this list.
Definitely Baldur's Gate 3. Come on.
Okay.
If you said, hey, you know, you can't spend $50 on a game, it's going to be Lethal Company. That's my number 2.
Okay.
It's the budget pick.
I'll go next.
Budget pick.
The budget pick.
I'll
go next with my nominees.
I thought that was fucking so clever when I read that, dude. I was like, God damn.
It's clever, but none of mine are food related. It was just, you know, Baldur's Gate 3 has to be nominated, but I did not play a whole lot of it. You know, it's beautiful. I'm not going to elaborate on it, but we gave Original Sin, Divinity Original Sin, best RPG ever made. That was a bar, and then now they outdid themselves. So I don't even know what to say.
They elbow dropped the bar, dude. They were like, ugh. They just added a fucking 3-hour epilogue to the game that you can play. Like, what the fuck? Like, what developer does that for free?
But
like, I don't get it.
They are not a developer that does DLCs.
And they're
correct.
The thing is, there's a rumor that they're going to be doing DLCs around a certain Yankee woman. We'll see. We'll see.
Interesting. Cyberpunk 2077 did not come out this year, but Phantom Liberty did. The release of that DLC, a lot of times a DLC will come out and the original game will have to be elevated in order to meet that DLC. And this is one of those cases. I feel like they would improve the game anyway, but having a deadline for a DLC that was this involved was like a goal to reach. Like, we have to be this good by the time this comes out, otherwise it's not going to mesh very well. So, you know, extra points for having a good launch on a DLC on a game that had a shitty launch. The Final Fantasy remake is the first Final Fantasy I finished in 25 years. So like
that's pretty intense.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's
and
pretty.
Not just that, but like there's a combat system I've never I've never played a combat system like that. I know it was introduced in Final Fantasy 15, but to me it was new. Like it's action and turn-based and real time, but also strategic. Crazy. But one of the best combat systems I've ever seen. Street Fighter 6, like I said, spent a lot of time on Street Fighter 5 last year, and Street Fighter 6 is better in every way. And Returnal, I had so much fun with this game. I mean, what other game makes you feel like a badass and then also shitty, like you're not good enough at the same time? Like, how do those two extremes happen in one game? Incredible. And I didn't know until it was really between Cyberpunk and Returnal until the end right now. And I've gotta say, because Returnal was done on day one, delivered on Steam, I'm gonna have to give it to Returnal. Cyberpunk took years to get good, so I'll give it to Returnal this year.
Wow. Congratulations, Returnal. That's a Sony game, right? If I remember.
That's a Sony game.
Yeah.
And also God of War.
It's a budget game too.
God of War was huge for me, and that was a Sony game.
Sweet.
Sounds like you should get a PS5.
Oh, well, we have Amanda here. Well, she's with us in vision, but not in voice. She's waving. She has some nominees. She nominated Hogwarts Legacy, Tom Clancy's The Division 2, Diablo 4, and Baldur's Gate 3. And, all these games are awesome. If I had to guesstimate, I would say it's really between Hogwarts Legacy and Baldur's Gate 3, with Baldur's Gate 3 leading probably a little bit.
Can we get a double middle fingers if it's Baldur's Gate? There we go.
So just like Scram, Hogwarts Legacy and Baldur's Gate 3, I feel like were beloved by Amanda. She talked about them over the years. So Baldur's Gate 3 swept, So is Baldur's Gate 3 our podcast game of the year? Like, is Baldur's Gate 3 the game that we can look back on 2023 on and say, yeah, that's it?
I think in my opinion, and I'm voting for sure, Baldur's Gate 3 is my vote for game of the year. So that's one. Then we have 2 with Amanda. So that's 2 out of 5. But the rest of the ones are scattered.
Bobby, what do I have to do to get you in the City Skylines 2 camp? Just on this vote. You don't actually have to play it, but is there anything I can offer you?
Just on the vote.
Yeah, for $10 maybe.
I would like to think that we could break away from mainstream media and come up with a better game of the year. But it is a great game. And typically I hate whatever we pick as our official DLG game of the year. We've given it to PUBG and Apex Legends and other games that have Dark Tide was last year's. It's these games come and go and they really aren't that great. But I feel like we'll look back on Baldur's Gate 3 and be happy about that decision because that game's going to be around for a long time.
I think
we also gave Divinity Original Sin 2 game of the year, and I feel good about that one as well. Yeah.
And it's a great game. Yeah. I can tell you right now, when the year came out, it's definitely my game of the year for that year. So it's I think the same thing is said to be for Baldur's Gate 3.
And PUBG wasn't so stupid to give game of the year. It's in 2024 and people like Nick are still playing.
It was revolutionary. It
was obviously revolutionary, yes.
It's so good. It was so good and so popular that Fortnite changed their whole entire game model from a zombie tower defense game to a battle royale, and then now
completely eclipsed them, dude. And
exactly. And then PlayerUnknown Battleground sold the game to China, the government of China. So hey, it's a full circle now.
Hey, cool. Okay, so let's just wrap up here real quick. We're going to talk about in 2024 kind of what some of our personal gaming goals are, just goals in general, and then maybe some goals for the podcast. But, we might have an ad, I'm not 100% sure, brought to you by Bobby. So,
well, because we're going to be talking about the next coming year and what our thoughts and ideas and plans are for that, I was thinking about this and I really thought, where do we go from here? We've been doing DLG for 10 years. What's the next step? How do we grow it? And I think we're about at the level where we could start a multi-level marketing cult with DLG.
Yeah.
I think we're there, guys. I was watching this documentary called Love Has Won. It's on HBO Max. Maybe you've seen it. It's about a modern cult. And I'm like, we could do this. This is doable. And they made a pretty good amount of money. So this is what I'm putting out there, guys. DLG cult, fancy robes, level 5 galactic leader. Like, of course, you got to pay. You know, you can't just move up there without the proper funding. But let's think on that. That's my idea. That's my pitch. All right, 2024, the DLG cult starts.
Who's the DLG cult pope?
Well, I mean, since I started it, I'm obviously going to be like level 10 galactic leader, right? And just to give you an idea of what this is going to be like, this is going to be like DLG con all the time. Like, you just forsake
I like these promises. These are good promises.
Yeah, dude. Like, doesn't that sound great? Just imagine DLG cult, like, just leave your family, leave your kids, and we're just going to get a big house and we're going to live there all together and play board games.
You get to play board games. I get to fuck all of you. That's how cults go generally.
That usually happens. Yeah.
Okay. So with the cult idea, just to drill down onto it a little bit, does it require that the people joining the cult...
You don't want to drill down on cult ideas. You can't understand what's happening. All right.
That's true. I'm not the level 10 galactic leader. I'm not the level 10 galactic leader.
They're very dynamic. You know, as a
you
level
don't have
8 galactic
direct communication with the supreme beings. Like,
yes.
So you just...
God. Stupid. Fuck. Okay. Some of my 2024 goals are balance the sandbox construction strategy games with story games. So I still kind of want to play less and more games, but really my goal was just experience an entire game how a developer intended. I read a crazy stat, and I can't remember the exact number right now, but most people play somewhere between 20 and 30% of a game they buy, you know, which is kind of sad because a lot of the work, especially in a story game, is going to be at the climax of the story. And most people who are purchasing those games might not even get there. So for me, I can play a sandbox construction strategy game all day, every day, 12 hours a day until I die. You know, like, I will never get tired of those games, but because they're so replayable, I feel like I'm missing out on some really awesome story games. So yeah, 2024, hopefully going to play some more story games, or at least balance these better. How about you guys?
I like that one, dude. That's a really good answer for yourself. I agree with that.
For me, I actually have very similar things. One of them is directly to a game that's coming out this year, and I want to do this for the channel and not my own channel, is make a long form video, 10 minutes or longer, regarding Space Marine 2. Obviously, Warhammer is a big thing I'm passionate about. Space Marine 2 is being made by a studio that made a very successful game that was below $50 before, but this is, I think, their first real AAA game with an IP that people really recognize. And I'm going to spend, like I said, some serious time playing the game, reviewing the game, writing a script, getting, you know, clips, interviewing people, doing background investigations and things like that regarding the game, and hopefully that, you know, that turns out to be a good piece of content for the channel. I'm definitely going to be playing more story games. I've been playing so many games that are multiplayer or multiplayer adjacent, and just completely abandoning story games except for like one day a week, which is just Baldur's Gate. But I want to play more solo games that, like, for example, maybe like a Metal Gear Solid or something like that I need to get back on the boat. Lastly, make more social media content, or help make more social media content, grabbing clips from the show, you know, things like that for Sniper, or creating things on my own and then sending it to be uploaded. So yeah.
Cool, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess kind of on my side, I would like to get more consistent reels and shorts out, just clips from the podcast. I've started, so if you go to TikTok or Instagram, you can see kind of what some highlights or some funny moments. And in 2024, you can look forward to to more of that, and then getting the podcast to 10,000 average downloads an episode would be a really big milestone for me. I feel like the first year where I started doing the podcast, that was my original goal, and obviously never hit it, right? So maybe 2024 is the year, but maybe it's not. As long as I'm trying for it, I feel like that's the important part. So yeah.
Bobby?
All right. Well, for me, other than starting a cult, I just want to be more active, more active in the community. More community engagement is what I put, but I feel like I need to personally make the commitment to be more active in the community, particularly in Discord. And I really, really like when we all get together and stream something on like a Friday night or something. I would love to do more of that, more Lethal Company, more Phasmophobia, more of these co-op games where we just have a good time. And also beat Doom 3. It's going to happen this year, folks.
Hell
I
yes.
promise you.
I think you should live stream it, dude.
Yeah,
I
you should
really
stream
think
that,
you should
dude.
stream it so
Why
you have an
wouldn't you stream
obligation.
It's not like you're gonna get scared anymore.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a pretty long game. I don't know if everyone wants to watch all that, but maybe.
Sweet. Amelia, what do you got?
I'm gonna read Amanda's actually.
Okay.
'Cause she is in the the Phantom realm. Get a Steam Deck first quarter, I think. And the newest ones are out and the prices are not that high. I totally recommend this. The QLED or the LED, no, yeah, QLEDs are, everybody's raving about them. I want to upgrade, even though I only put like 10 hours into mine. Build a PC at end of the year. By the end of the year, maybe is what that means. Although, based on this episode, maybe it'll be a January baby. Who knows? Learn and help make more. Learn and help make more social media content. Yeah. I mean, we all need to engage in the community more. I don't think you could. I mean, you are one of the more frequent chat you're involved quite a bit. Play more Switch and touch more grass, both the kind on the ground and the kind in the joint. Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Okay.
And myself, maybe you guys can help me. So I want to play Baldur's Gate 3 with Samantha, but I only have one copy. I only have one computer. I guess I have a second computer, but it really can't run it. I have a Steam Deck. Like, what's the most appealing way that I can present
PlayStation
that?
5. Just get it.
And I was thinking, shh, don't tell them. I was thinking about getting one for the family anyway. So maybe I should just do that. And then you said it like you can connect seamlessly, right?
On the PlayStation 5?
Yeah, to a Steam account.
No, I don't think it's through Steam. I think it's native to PlayStation and couch co-op. When I played it,
couch co-op on one. Okay.
Yeah,
one
because
edition, two people.
you're with Sam and maybe Mila wants to join too. You're on the couch. You're sharing a bit like a bowl of chips. Like it could be a group activity. When I played it at PAX, I was so amazed. I was like, this game doesn't even feel like it came from PC. This feels like it is supposed to be on a console. I'm blown away. It was awesome. So yeah.
Which game?
Amanda, I really appreciate
Baldur's Gate 3.
expressive eyes. I know exactly what you're saying without saying it. Optimize, mod, and play more Steam Deck. I've seen other people's. They have a mod called Decky, and from Decky you can make it look however you want, play however you want. You can play all the games you want. People have their Microsoft accounts on there. They have their Blizzard accounts on there. It's crazy, man. And I'm over here playing fucking Binding of Isaac. You know what I mean? So yeah, I need to get it going. And same thing with VR. There's no really mods for it, but I need to just play it more. Like that, I have a sensor over there and a sensor right there in this room. They're both glowing green, shooting rays into my brain the entire time I'm in here for the Steam for the index, and I never play it. Like, it's worth the cancer, right? Like, I gotta play it. So there we go.
Got to make your cancer worth it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Those are some good goals. I like it. I liked everyone's goals. Amanda, I like touch more grass. I like to imagine it's touch more grass in real life and in video games. For some reason, I thought that could be good. Yeah. I guess we're gonna end the show. We want to thank everyone who listened. You know, it's super awesome that you guys are still around. It was great that you sent in clips and that we could hear from some of you what your game of the year is. You know, I hope I hear from all of you in 2024 through the Discord, and you share more of your experiences with us. Earlier in the show, King Taron, you subscribed for 15 months in a row. Thank you for doing that. You know, it's great to have your support. And Emilio, I was hoping you could close us out with some titties and the names of all these fine patron supporters.
I've had a lot to drink. I'm a little drunk, but I'm
Okay.
going to try to do this.
Okay.
I've had 6 ounces of whiskey and 6 White Claws. So, speaking for Bobby, Christian, Nick, Amanda, and Curdle, Ben, Let's Ride Bikes, Neil Sprung remotely here, BMN, Blunts, Jake Sendusaroya, Brennan Archibald, Tattoo Terror, Gabriel Grieve, Jamie Burkham, Bedum, Hingo McCringleberry, Hector, Zap, Adrian, Peter, Scram TX, Tom, JP Diddy, Hogofash, Carl, Sunken for Life, Ben, Patrick, Smith, Dustin, Siriums, Longfellow 110, Warconius, Raging Cajun, Caddy B, Mikhail Roskolovsky, that's not a real name, no way. Recycled, Tagloro, Hype Performance Group, I'm getting tired. Rubber Nuts, Hazard Pay, Jan Kegs, Pyronical, Tanner Sprangler, Jim Peter Patterson, subscribers, Time Killer B, and myself. Yearly titties, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.